Hey guys, so in my last video I did my July wrap up of all of the worst books that I read in July. Today I'm going to be doing all of the best books that I read in July, so these are all of my 4 and 5-star rated reads. I'm going to start with the 4 stars and then work my way into the 5 stars, saving the best for last. So the first 4-star read book that I read this month was On the Fence by Casey West. This is one that was recommended to me by Murphy Napier. She's one of my favourite booktubers. I'll link her channel down below, but she's obsessed with Casey West and now I can see for good reason. I asked her which book I should start with and she recommended starting with On the Fence. It's a YA contemporary story about a girl who lives with a heap of brothers and like an honorary brother who's, you know, a neighbour. She ends up kind of making new friends because she gets a job and doing girlier things, and she kind of has these 2 different lives going on, and there's romance and stuff, and there's the family relationships with all of her brothers and with her dad. And I just really liked this book. And Charlie, the protagonist, she was a really interesting and likable person. She's just a little bit different to your typical female teenage protagonist, and I really liked her. Like I said, it was an adorable romance as well, and I definitely need to read more Casey West. The next 4-star read that I had this month was Runaways Battle World. This is one of the Runaways comics by Noelle Stevenson and illustrated, I think, by Sanford Green. It was super fun. Pretty much the reason that I picked this up is because Rainbow Rowell, who's one of my favourite authors, is going to be writing the reboot of the Runaways comic series that's starting soon, I think. I'm really excited for it because I love Rainbow Rowell's writing, and the illustrator that's working with her looks very talented as well. And yeah, I just thought I would pick up this one to see what the whole Runaways thing was about. It's a series that's been around for a long time, I think, and this is just the random one that happened to be at my local library. So yeah, it was very fast paced, and a character called Jubilee was my favourite. It's basically about a bunch of teenagers who are going to a school for people with special superhero type talents, and they end up running away. You can subscribe to Rainbow Rowell's Runaways comic through the Marvel website. I will link down below where you can subscribe to it, because I did it and I was kind of praying that shipping and stuff to New Zealand wouldn't be too much and that the issues wouldn't be too much, and it ended up only being about, I think, less than $5 New Zealand dollars per issue for 12 issues or something like that. Obviously if you're in the US it'll be even less because your shipping will be less, and your currency exchange rate means my $5 is your $3. So yeah, highly recommend subscribing to that if you're a fan of Rainbow Rowell, because I have a feeling that it's going to be awesome and it's just going to be so much fun to get a comic book in the mail every month. So I'm really looking forward to that, and definitely go check out where you can subscribe to that down below, because I think it was well worth the very cheap price that I paid for it. Obviously I haven't got any of them yet, so I can't really properly recommend it, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be amazing because everything that Rainbow Rowell writes is amazing, and it's a comic book and it's just going to be fun. The next 4-star read I had this month was, again, something a little bit different. This is Well Read Women by Samantha Hahn. This is kind of a, I don't even know what you call this, it's like an art book. It's basically a whole bunch of paintings of famous female characters from literature. For example, this one is Lorelei from Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, which I didn't even know was a book. I just knew the movie with Marilyn Monroe, but this is a portrait of that character. There's a whole bunch of different ones. There's Emma by Jane Austen, and yeah, I had seen someone talk about this and thought it would be really beautiful. It's kind of one that maybe I would buy one day just because it's so beautiful, but I picked it up from the library just to have a look through it. The artwork is just stunning. The next 4-star read I have is The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. This is an absolute classic. Obviously this particular edition of it has 6 short stories from the Sherlock Holmes stories, and then it's also got The Hound of the Baskervilles, which is one of the Sherlock Holmes novels. Watson, who's Sherlock Holmes' friend, and Sherlock are just really interesting characters. They're completely consumed by the mysteries that they're trying to solve. I really enjoyed The Hound of the Baskervilles. These are all set during the, or was written during the 1800s, which, like I always say, is a time period that I'm really interested in. So I really liked that. I really like just hearing about all the mysteries they're solving. And it's so cool to finally read The Hound of the Baskervilles, which is a title I've heard a lot but never really knew what the story was about. And it's so funny with classics when you've heard a title and you've kind of like, you get kind of an impression from the title of what the book is going to be about, and then you read it and you're like completely off the mark. So yeah, I just found that story really interesting. The short stories I didn't enjoy quite as much, just because they're all very formulaic. So like, Watson goes over to Sherlock's house while he's visiting. A stranger shows up and asks Sherlock for help in solving a mystery. Sherlock says that Watson has to help him, and then they go about investigating. Sherlock knows exactly what's going on and figures it all out, and then there's like a big reveal and the suspect or whatever gets caught, or the mystery gets solved, and Watson's like, that's amazing, how did you do that? And then Sherlock explains the whole thing to him. That's basically how every single one of the short stories that are in this collection at least go. And it is really cool, but I think it's better if you read them like once in a while, not back to back like I did, just because that formula gets a little repetitive. But with The Hound of the Baskervilles, since it was a lot longer, it was a lot less straightforward, so I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I really liked this collection overall. The last 4-star read that I have for this month is History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. This is one that I've been so anticipating because I loved More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera, and yeah, I was really looking forward to this one. So this is about a guy who, his ex-boyfriend passes away and he was kind of still in love with him, and then he ends up meeting his ex-boyfriend's new boyfriend at the funeral, I think, and they end up just trying to get through their grief. As usual, Adam's writing is just stunning. He writes beautifully. It's amazing. It dealt with grief, I thought, really realistically. It shows the struggles that it can put you through and how it can affect your decision making and things like that. I loved how it was written as if directly to Theo, so it was like our protagonist was writing to his ex who had passed away. I thought that was really nice. The only thing that I didn't like about it, which was what knocked it down from 5-star to 4-star for me, was it felt a little bit love triangle-y, which is kind of weird in that kind of context. And just because of that, because I kind of got the vibe pretty quickly that it was going to be like that, I found it a little bit predictable. I don't know if any of you guys have read it and you predicted who Griffin was going to end up with. Let me know in the comments down below, because I totally did. And yeah, I don't know, it just made it a little bit less enjoyable because I wasn't like super surprised by how it all played out, because I kind of felt like it was going that way just because it was so like love triangle-y. So then moving on to my couple of 5-star reads for the month, I read a couple of really like phenomenal, amazing books this month. The first one I already have a review up of. It's a spoiler-free review, so you can go check it out if you want. It's for The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. This is a YA historical fiction adventure novel, and it's super fun. It's got a really diverse cast of characters and it deals with some really important issues as well, but it's just mostly super fun. In my review that I've got up at the moment, this is actually the last day to enter a giveaway to win a copy of this book. So if you are interested in it and want to win a copy for yourself, go check out that video. All you have to do is leave a comment underneath it saying something about this book. My last 5-star read for this month was A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This has had phenomenal feedback from like everyone who's read it. It was quite possibly the best book I've ever read, and by best I kind of mean like most important. I think it deals with grief beautifully in like a really, I don't know, in a really good way. I just really liked how it dealt with grief. The word grief really puts me off books in general, and that's kind of I think why I had avoided picking it up, but I can attest that it's sad, but it's not sad in a way that drags you down. It's sad in a way that lifts you up and makes you think about things differently. I think it should be compulsory reading for everyone. I remember there being a tag video a while ago which was like, which book do you think should be, you know, compulsory reading for everyone? And I was like, I don't know, you know, read what you want. But this book, I feel like everyone will get it because it so deals with issues that are so human. Like everyone goes through, you know, grief and loss at some point. It's just, you know, part of the nature of being human. We live and then we die, and when you're living you lose people. And I just think this book deals with that whole idea so fantastically, and any human will identify with this and get something from it, I think. And because it's kind of a children's book, like I feel like you could possibly read this to your children if you don't think it's something that is like too scary for them. I think it's really accessible for anyone. Like, I honestly think anyone, no matter their age, no matter whether they like reading or not, I think everyone would really like this book. And there are some really beautiful editions of it out there. I'm definitely going to be getting one because it's one that I have to have in my collection. I think it's honestly one of the most important books of all time. Let me know if you've seen the film, what you thought of it, because it hasn't actually been released in New Zealand yet. I don't know if we're just not getting it or if it's coming out next year or something. But I would love to know your thoughts if you've seen the movie already, because I'm kind of excited about it. The trailer looked pretty good. So that is it for all of the best books that I read this month. If you've read any of them, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to go enter my giveaway right now for the Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. I'm probably going to be doing like one giveaway a month for like the best book that I read that month. So yeah, stay tuned for that. You can go friend me on Goodreads if you want to keep up with what I'm reading throughout August. Thank you guys for watching this, and I'll see you with another video in a couple of days. Bye.